contest, the ownership of the club. Chelsea, of course, got their own ownership issues. Take the job team third in the table. It's been a disappointing end for them as well. Season by the look of things. Let's take a knee before kick-off. I'm Simon Barlow, joined by Josh Hall for this game. And Josh, what we're expecting tonight is going to be a classic with lots of defensive errors, or are we going to see a slightly stale contest?
It's very hard to know what to expect when Manchester United are playing at the moment. They're a team who are all over the place at the back and going forward at times, but they're also one that can really have a lot of impressive individual performances and come out with a result. Obviously, Chelsea have been struggling for form recently, and it's so hard to predict what would happen. I think it would be silly to say there won't be some sort of defensive error in this game. But it should be an interesting game either way.
Yeah, ball played back to Mendy, and the Chelsea goalkeeper gets his first touch with a long punt downfield. Varane, who is alongside Lindelof at the heart of United's defence with no captain Harry Maguire this evening, nods it on. Fernandes tries to juggle with the ball, but gets dispossessed by Reece James, and Chelsea have it at the back. Played back to Mendy once more, and this time he clears it out towards the left-hand side. Back heel there by Alonso, trying to release Havertz over the halfway line, but Lindelof takes a nice angle, wins the ball, and United have it back. United in their red and white home colours tonight. Chelsea in all blue, white shorts, offside against Ronaldo as he tries to control a high ball. Chelsea take a quick free kick. Referee is Mike Dean on probably what will be his last visit to Old Trafford. He's calling it a day at the end of this season. So Chelsea back in possession on the halfway line. Thiago Silva slows everything down, assesses his options. United sitting in a sort of defensive shape of a loose sort of 4-3-3. Rashford started out on the left, Ronaldo down the middle, and Elanga on the right-hand side. As Chelsea advance it through James. Quick ball into Mount's feet is stopped by Tellez, drops back to Chelsea's possession. Conte lifts it out towards Rudiger. One of a couple of changes made by Thomas Tuchel for this game. Blues finding any route down United's right-hand side, but keep trying here with Conte and Havertz, who twists away from Lindelof. Back to the Frenchman, and Chelsea will start again. A little slip there from Bruno Fernandes allows Conte to move it forward. Ball down the line by Alonso, finds Werner getting to the byline. Can he supply a ball into the box? He's waiting for the supporting act to arrive, but it's not a great delivery by Alonso in the end. And Manchester United should get it away now through Diogo Dalot. So I think United are going to be in that sort of familiar 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, possibly out of possession. Chelsea, sometimes they line up with a 3 at the back, sometimes 4 at the back. But what are you seeing here, Josh?
Yeah, it's looking like what you've just mentioned there, and I think Chelsea almost will have a 2 or a 3 defensive at the back, because Reece James will push up so much, and COMPLETO will probably join that midfield at times. They've got so many talented players in their back line that when they do have the ball going forward, they almost just become wingers and midfielders. And if Manchester United are going to sit in that 4-3-3, as you say, then Chelsea will have lots of ability to try and break it down. And the man stepping over this free kick, Reece James, will be a big cog in there.
Yeah, free kick run just outside the United penalty area, over to the right-hand side. James tosses a cross in. It's headed away by McTominay, not with any great authority. It'll come back here via Marcos Alonso. Actually plays the ball back to Mount on his right foot, advancing. Might go for goal here with a shot that strikes the body of Dalot. And there's a foul there on Elanga just on the edge of the box as Jorginho slides in. So free kick to Manchester United. The first attacking set piece of the game that Chelsea played in there, but with no great accuracy or imagination.
Yeah, not quite managed to find anything real obvious for that. It's come out, and obviously the shot from Mason Mount, had it gone in, would have been a very special goal, but not really challenging any sort of attempt on goal. And then obviously a bit of a foul there from Jorginho as they were coming out, but it's the kind of foul you'll probably see him make a couple of times, as well as Conte this evening, when they're trying to stop that counter-attack from Manchester United, as they'll probably feel that's the best way that they can approach this game, is to sit back and counter-attack.
Here's Werner down the right-hand side now, puts a low ball into the near post, just took a bit of a nick off Tellez, makes it easy for De Gea to pick up in front of the Stretford end. I wonder how much input or not Erik ten Hag is having at the moment. Obviously it's been confirmed in the last week or so that he is going to be manager for the next season, and possibly the next 4 or 5 seasons, with the length of the contract there to be determined, I guess, on how successful he is in the initial part. But I think he's a 4-3-3 disciple, isn't he? But a very different 4-3-3, the way Manchester United have been playing with that system. Here come Chelsea with James now hitting a shot on goal, and it's parried away by De Gea at his near post. So Chelsea definitely on top in these first 5 minutes.
Yeah, certainly. They're the ones getting the ball in the more dangerous areas. They're playing in that final third of Manchester United's half, and when Reece James lets fly there, you know that he's got sort of a chaos factor to his efforts. And although it was straight out to De Gea, all he could do was parry it away because there was so much power behind.
Played down the line into Havertz, and Chelsea just bossing possession and winning it back in United's half quite a lot here as it goes off Dalot for a Chelsea throw. They do look disorganised and quite dispirited, don't they, Manchester United? It was a little bit of a show of pride in that defeat to Arsenal the weekend, but really it was never anything like it should have been for a team meant to be battling for a top 4 place, which now looks to be beyond them. Here come Chelsea down the right again, loads of space for James. That's an issue for United to fix in the early stages. Then it goes to Werner, who tries to turn in the box, gets a shot in at the near post, and another bit of action for David De Gea.
Yeah, they're doing well to open up spaces when they come forward, and as I said earlier, if they are going to break down any sort of block from Manchester United, Reece James is going to be a big part of it, and once again he's a part of this attack here. He fires a pass in to Timo Werner, who's sort of jockeyed away by Lindelof, and he's forced to shoot from quite a difficult angle. It would have been a special goal if he'd have managed to put it in from that angle, but it's another shot on target for Chelsea, and they're looking the better of the two sides at the moment.
You know, when Chelsea were knocked out of the Champions League by Real Madrid in that crazy second leg at the Bernabeu, I think after the game, Reece James got, I think he possibly got the shirt of Karim Benzema, and he got a pat on the back from the French striker as well, saying, "You are going to be a player, my friend." If he's not a player already, but perhaps it wasn't on the radar of Benzema, but certainly I think everybody in this country knows that he could potentially be England's right back answer for many years to come. He's got the ball again, he's certainly getting a lot of space on that side. Tellez isn't getting close to him, Rashford isn't getting back to him, and so it does seem like it's a pretty good avenue for Chelsea to exploit him. And again, they look to him because he's in so much space. Takes it on the chest, brings it down, knocks it back in field. United's so passive, they're not going to foot in, they've not made a challenge of note apart from one foul on the edge of the penalty area. Like they're ready for a hiding, to be honest, as James again takes it further up down the right hand side, turns away from Matic. At least he's got close to him on this occasion, plays it off Rashford's body and wins Chelsea a throw.
It seems so obvious. We're seeing how much space Reece James is in. Every time he gets the ball, he's doing something with it or looking for something, and just, as you mentioned there's just pockets of space that he's managing to float in. He's not being picked up by Rashford when he's getting back. Tellez isn't getting close enough to him. And if they do keep giving him that much space, they'll punish them. But at the same time, they're finding space in the other angles.
Yeah, they're trying to stretch United in the other direction now with Alonso. Dalot sort of tried to make a move towards intercepting the ball, but then knew he couldn't get there. Now it's turned by Conte in midfield, finding the ball from Mason Mount to James. James hits a shot into the body of United's Varane, and it bounces back De Gea's way, but again James in the penalty area this time, in space again.
Yeah, so much space on the right hand side of the penalty area. We can see on our pictures here he's got his arms wide stretched for about 30 seconds hoping for that ball to come across. Tellez is nowhere to be seen. Varane has to come across to cover for Tellez, and in the end if James had just managed to get a slightly better first touch on that, I think it probably would have been 1-0 Chelsea.
Yeah, he didn't really sort of get it out of his feet enough, did he? And it was a little bit rushed into the shot, although Varane did close quickly, had a lot of ground to make up. The camera's focusing on Reece James right now, because he is the outstanding factor in the game, really. As Chelsea have a free kick in defence now. Jorginho turns away from Bruno Fernandes, leaves him almost sells him a massive dummy there, but there's a mistake by Conte this time, as he tries to play a ball out to the right, and Manchester United's sort of faint press has just ushered a mistake out of Chelsea there, which is a bit of a surprise. So throw in to Manchester United inside the Chelsea half. I don't think they've had possession in the Chelsea half for the last 5 minutes, but now McTominay turns away inside the just outside the D, plays it wide to Tellez. He gets a cross in towards Bruno Fernandes. His header straight at Mendy. Perhaps tough header there because he had to generate the power himself, but it wasn't target, and Mendy made an easy save.
Yeah, it's an easy save for the goalkeeper, and he sort of just glances it in his direction rather than managing to get enough on it to challenge the Chelsea goalkeeper. But like you say, it was a tough header to get any power on. And really didn't have any option either than to put his head on it. He couldn't really have had any time to take it down, no one really to flick it onto. But it shows that they can create a chance when they do get that field position, when they get up into Chelsea's half. Obviously it came from that mistake from Kante originally, but if they can get up there, they might have an opportunity to get some goals.
Loose header from Varane, forced to Havertz, and Chelsea counter down the left-hand side now with Alonso up against Dalot, shifts the ball inside and goes back to Conte. Now it's wide to Havertz, constant switching of positions by the Chelsea forward line. United being stretched again as they work it back towards Rudiger. He lifts it into the penalty area. Havertz has made a run. Good first touch, not quite a good first touch. Just came off his boot, goes behind for a goal kick.
Forward again, aren't they, Chelsea? Finding pockets of space, finding runs off the man, and they're playing progressive passes. And I mean, Havertz really is not followed by anyone until he's almost got past that man there. And it's a nice little ball over the top for Rudiger, and if he gets a better touch, and gets another opportunity for Chelsea.
Yeah, Dalot was passing him on to Lindelof, but there was a moment there where neither of the United defenders had Havertz making that run into the penalty area. It was the things that Erik ten Hag's got to iron out when he comes in next season, something that was evident before Ralf Rangnick took charge, but Rangnick wasn't able to really remedy over the course of his, 4 or 5 months. It was played out to Varane now. The Frenchman takes a touch and then launches it downfield, trying to find Rashford, but quickly was Thiago Silva. Chelsea just seems to be so comfortable at the back. United haven't really given them anything to think about other than one fairly tame Bruno Fernandes header. We're into the 12th minute now. Chelsea had 78% possession. This is going the same way as the Manchester derby, when I think Manchester City came to Old Trafford and had about 80% possession, which is very embarrassing. There's a foul on McTominay just outside the United box by Havertz, and they have a free kick. I mean, Erik ten Hag is all about, to keep talking about Erik ten Hag, he's not taking charge yet, but this is all that Manchester United fans have got to really sort of look forward to. It's been such a dismal last few weeks and months, but he's going to have to get them holding onto the ball better, isn't he, than what they've been doing recently.
Yeah, certainly he's got a lot of work to do, and he's got to work on both sides of the game. I think it has to be a more aggressive and intense press if they want to try and win the ball back in better areas, and then when they do have it, they've just got to take more care of it.
There's Rashford running at Azpilicueta in the box and twisting on the outside, but Azpilicueta defends well. Rashford can't get to the byline. It's going to be a corner, actually. I think Azpilicueta wasn't sure. He was perhaps expecting Mendy to give him a shout, and in the end he had to deal with it himself. So Rashford wins a corner. Initially it looked like Azpilicueta had charge of the situation. United have got 2 players over by that left corner flag, offering left and right footed options with the delivery. Ronaldo scored at the weekend, is trying to find some space just behind Varane. It goes in towards the near post and it's headed away by Rudiger. Comes back to the edge, Matic lofts it back in there, it's flicked on, and now an overhead kick from Ronaldo goes into the fans.
He's just tried something special there. He's tried exactly what Ronaldo can pull off. We know he can pull it off, but the angle's not right. He just lofts it way too high over the goal as he's trying to do it. But United getting opportunities and causing problems for Chelsea when they are up in that final third of the Blues. However, they're just not getting there enough, and they're not getting there themselves, really.
Chelsea knock it away. Lindelof challenging with Havertz, then Dalot comes in with a header. McTominay's got round Conte here and slips it wide. It's a strong pass which forces Rashford towards a corner flag. Azpilicueta, his shadow, he tries to roll him initially, then plays it back to McTominay once more. Laid back by Ronaldo to Matic, about 40 yards out. Ronaldo's going to have a pop from range. It's a low scudding effort which kicked away by Thiago Silva. But United getting some kind of rhythm to their play now, although they've been forced back here by Werner to goalkeeper De Gea. He knocks it out wide right to Dalot. Dalot's closed down quickly by Havertz, and it's going to be a Manchester United throw. So Ralf Rangnick has left his seat in the lofted, sort of elevated position, come down to pitch side to just look at things from close up and try and work out what needs to be done. Mainly, I would guess, to try and stop Reece James being a factor, but United have had the ball, which has stopped him being a factor for the last few minutes. Ronaldo tries a step over, jinks aside of Jorginho's challenge, again advances towards the edge of the box, plays it wide to Rashford, get onto his right foot, and then plays it back to the edge of the box. McTominay in a shooting position, looking for a 1-2 here with Bruno Fernandes, but they just don't quite accurately meet up there, but it's played back into the box. Ronaldo's coming back from an offside position, doesn't go for it, and Mendy can gather.
they're warming into the game now, Manchester United. When they have got the ball further up the pitch, they're taking their time, and there looks like there could be an avenue in behind this Chelsea back five. However, it's just not quite crisp enough, and they're not playing with the confidence that a team, you know, their confidence is so low at the moment that when they are in those positions, they're not playing with zip, and they're not making the runs off each other, and they probably could have exploited some spaces in behind Chelsea if they were playing with their confidence.
Yeah, just look as though that confidence eroded away over some period of time. Obviously, one of the most famous defeats of the season was the 5-0 at this ground by Liverpool. As Chelsea win the ball back from Tellez' mistake, and now Mount on the edge of the box can't quite get through. Tellez recovered well, actually, had to, having lost the ball with not many teammates around him, and even Rashford's come back there to help him out. United should be able to get this one away now. Down the line, it's flicked on. Defender was there before Bruno Fernandes, and it's back to goalkeeper Mendy. Difficult one for Rudiger to take, but he does sort it out. Goes back to his goalkeeper, and now Chelsea will begin again with Alonso. Plays it down.
السلام عليكم. Bangalore sir. Bangalore sir. Bangalore वक्ती कड़े हुआ. बस दाव बल और बस इराक़ दीजिए.
Heavily investing. Rashford put two Chelsea defenders in his way. Again, Chelsea's counter-attack there, but United just not executing.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate that one. He just slips. It's obviously one of those wet pitches, isn't it, Old Trafford, and Ronaldo just takes a tumble and can't carry that counter-attack on. It was a fantastic run being made through the middle by Marcus Rashford, and if he'd have managed to stay on his feet, he'd have backed the former Real Madrid man to find him, but he couldn't quite do it.
Chelsea with a chance now. Conte straight at David De Gea, and he's shouting, he's bawling at his defenders there because nobody spotted Conte in space. Certainly Chelsea did, as it was tucked back to him inside the penalty area. He's got a straight shot at goal, and he scored against Manchester United in the past, so we know United should know he's a threat, but it's just shocking defending, really, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was poor defending. Everyone's sort of asleep on the edge of the box. Bruno Fernandes has come back to almost look like another body, someone who might be having coming back to help to defend, but he's just ball watching, and it allows that one to go straight through to Conte. I know we're saying that he could be a threat, but he's not quite known for his goal scoring abilities, but either way, you've got to make sure that man's marked.
Some latecomers coming into Old Trafford. I think that might be to do with the protest against the Lazy family, but Marcus Rashford's gone down with what appears to be a knock, being helped back to his feet by Reece James. Looks a bit winded or so strange old 20 minutes now in this game, with Chelsea dominating and Manchester United having almost played like an away team.
Yes, certainly have, and I think if there's one thing that they can take solace on is that they've found opportunities to counter-attack. But also, we've seen multiple times this season Chelsea dominate games like this, but just not be able to put the ball in the back of the net. Quite often they can't take their chances. Timo Werner, not known as the world's most clinical striker, and obviously they've had problems with Lukaku since he signed. So they'll be hoping that they can sort of get away with these chances and get back in the game themselves, Manchester United.
Yeah, the home side come down the right-hand flank now with Elanga. He's been one of the bright spots of the second half of the season, promoted by Ralph Rangnick, and he's scored some good goals actually in his brief cameo appearances and the occasional start. Getting his chance tonight through Jadon Sancho's tonsillitis as United work it to Ronaldo. It's played back to Dalot and Bruno Fernandes. He looks up, sees Rashford making a run in behind. Chelsea holding a line about 10 yards outside the box. So United go back and then come forward again. Ronaldo telling Dalot to play back towards Lindelof. Now into feet of Matic. Dalot to Ronaldo, who's gone right. Elanga made a run for him, but he plays it back to the Portuguese defender. And now Matic again, pirouette and then out towards Telles, the opposite full-back, delivers a high ball to the back post with no quality on it at all. And easy catch for Mendy inside his 6-yard box.
Yeah, it's a really poor ball from Telles, and the minute before that is probably the longest time we've seen Manchester United hold the ball for since the start of this game, but they just weren't doing anything with it. Every time they were confronted with a Chelsea player, they would just pass the ball backwards or sideways. They started about halfway into Chelsea's half, then ended in their own half, and then just a long ball into the box, which was just not enough quality.
Crossing from Chelsea is a dangerous one from that right-hand side. It's delivered across the 6-yard box. Nobody in that centre-forward position though, so nobody able to benefit. But Chelsea still have the ball with Werner turning, trying to feed it through to Alonso. It's come off the United defender's foot, so Dalot have to stop that one and knock it clear. Bruno Fernandes beaten there by Jorginho. Chelsea working back to Thiago Silva. Quick ball out to James again, who's had a quiet sort of 10-minute spell, but he slips it to Mount, who tries to turn inside the penalty area. Ball comes back to the edge, but Matic was there to mop up and carries it clear. Bruno Fernandes looking to link up here with Rashford. It's a good 1-2, and Rashford now has got pace to run out of the Chelsea defence. So has Reece James, recovery pace, and he gets back goal side and wins the tackle. Plays it to Mason Mount. Looks like Marcus Rashford has got a tough night on his hands there with Reece James, doesn't he? As ball's played down the line to Mount in a counter-attack situation. Ball across the base of the penalty area, and David De Gea just gets there in front of Havertz.
That all shows just how important Reece James is to this Chelsea side. They lose the ball, Chelsea, and Manchester United look to have a really dangerous counter-attack on the left-hand side with Rashford. It's then James that manages to get all the way back, win the ball back for Chelsea, starts the attack for them with Mason Mount, and they come up and have a really good chance themselves once they've hit the ball off the Man United foot. And so it just shows going forward and that how important Reece James is going to be to this Chelsea side.
Reece James' sister once played for Manchester United's women's team, but she's since transferred to join him at Stamford Bridge. Now, Matic plays into the feet of McTominay. Square ball across to Bruno Fernandes. They cross the halfway line, Manchester United. Not any great sort of cohesive unit. Ones and twos, and if you were jogging, nobody's really sprinting and making a run. Is Ronaldo now down to Elanga on the right hand side. Rudiger tracks across. It's played back to Dalot. Goes back to the halfway line and Lindelof. United remaining patient and trying to use this ball, trying to work the Chelsea defenders. Telles delivered an awful cross last time he had it, plays it short into the feet of the Chelsea defender, and it's cleared back into the United half. We've gone past the halfway point of the first half. It's still goalless at Old Trafford and set through to half time now. It's going to be Joshua.
Thank you very much. It has been interesting. Cristiano Ronaldo, but it's headed away by Thiago Silva, and Chelsea now back with the ball after a sustained period of Manchester United possession, and a loose pass from Alonso is picked off by Dalot, but he can only do as much to give it back to a Chelsea man, and it's Werner on the left hand side trying to get past Dalot, and he looks to play a ball into the middle, but Dalot does very well to get back and block anything coming from it, and it will be a corner though to Chelsea on the near side, as our pictures show. It's the left hand side, and we're not quite the most dangerous from set pieces. Chelsea not got an awful lot of height in their side, maybe bar Antonio Rudiger and Kai Havertz, whereas Manchester United are a team with a lot of height, could be dangerous from set pieces, especially when Harry Maguire's in the team. Obviously, the team tonight, the likes of Ronaldo and Varane can possibly get this away. It will be Mason Mount to take the corner for Chelsea and plays it short, possibly because of that lack of height. Then plays it drilled across the face, nice and low, and it looked like Alonso was going to come on to try and get a shot off, but he couldn't quite get it in time. But Rudiger's around the other side to then offload the ball to Kante, who floats one back into the area. It's headed away by Manchester United, but not far enough as Alonso wins it back for Chelsea. He's running towards the Manchester United box, but he ends up going straight back to Thiago Silva as they try and just keep on in possession at the moment. Chelsea looked like there was maybe an opportunity on there, but in the end not enough blue shirts for Chelsea to be able to get anything from that opportunity as the ball spread back wide once again to Werner on the left hand side. He chips a little ball forward looking for Mason Mount, but it's straight into the arms of David De Gea. Not really any real quality from Chelsea in that attack, but they're sort of warming back into it after a period of Manchester United having the ball.
Yeah, I thought it was quite an inventive corner. I don't know if it's something they've worked on in training or whether it was off the cuff from Mason Mount, but it worked really well. United defenders were slow to get out, and there was a sort of a nice angle to pass it into the penalty area for somebody coming from the edge, but just wasn't quite there.
Ronaldo comes storming into the Chelsea box. He goes down. No shout or anything from him for a penalty, but he seemed to fall down without really being any of the fall taken, whether he was touched at all. We'll have to wait and see, but it's not like him to shout that it would be a penalty if it isn't. So Kante comes down, plays the ball nice on the right hand side to Havertz. He's got Werner in the middle. He goes himself and he hits it into the side netting of De Gea's net. And he had players in the middle. He probably could have done better to just cut himself or try and find someone in the box. But Chelsea on the counter attack probably get the closest we've seen since those early games.
Deep inside their own half. There's 3 passes. One of them was a square ball, and they're in the penalty area. Good ball from Kante. Got him behind a tight angle. Should be doing better. Just work the goalkeeper, cross the goalkeeper rather than going near post. You might get a rebound out to a teammate following it, but played
feels like he could have done better there. Kai Havertz has been such an important player for Chelsea in recent times, and he's somebody really got under quite a bit of pressure when he was first signed. Well, it's signified to him. He is their top goal scorer in all competitions this season, 13 goals for the Blues, and they probably have Lukaku sitting top of that list, but he's not quite been able to do that price tag would have justified, and they had to often rely on the German Kai Havertz to bail them out and get big goals as they come forward again. And it is Havertz who's got it. He's just inside the box, and it's a great save by David De Gea. He lets fly on his left foot, Kai Havertz, and he hits it pretty much straight at the goalkeeper, but he does so well to get that pocket, and I think he's probably been winded. It's hit him straight in his midriff, and he's down on the floor at the moment. It probably looks like he was winded from it, but what a pass once more from N'Golo Kante to split open Manchester United.
You're absolutely right, yeah. It's second sort of key pass he's made in the space of 30 seconds of football, maybe 60 seconds of the game, and he releases Havertz, who's got to do better. Now the first chance he had, he's gone near post. He should have gone across the goalkeeper on this occasion, lift it enough, just really make a decisive finish, and he allows David De Gea to sort of spook him really by coming out of weakness.
Chelsea mounting it time it's cleared away, and then Rudiger tries to get a shot off but can't quite get his foot over it, and it goes over the bar out for a goal to Manchester United. This one whipped in. There's definitely some sort of routine being worked at the moment for Chelsea from corners. That first one was drilled in low, the second one put right on top of De Gea at the near post, and had players waiting further out in the box for some sort of knock on. I think it probably comes back to the fact they don't quite have that aerial ability from set pieces, but definitely the team on top at the moment. Thomas Tuchel making his opinions heard on his technical area. We can see on our pictures there, just Chelsea 59% of possession now in almost half an hour we've had played, so Man United more so in the game. You've got to think that the chances Chelsea are creating now are more dangerous.
I think that the quality of Chelsea's chances has been really high in this game. You know, you get an opportunity like the one Havertz had there, where he's virtually inside the penalty area and he's shooting with just the goalkeeper's beat. That's a high XG he's got on that opportunity. And generally, they have to be put away at the very top level. There've been other opportunities as well, though, at Manchester United. Very little in the final third, so it looks like it's just a matter of time before Chelsea take the lead in this game.
It certainly feels inevitable that Chelsea will be the team to go ahead, but this is football. You never know what will happen. But Kai Havertz has offloaded the ball here to he's come into a bit of a central position. The ball now with Reece James just inside the box on the right hand side. He tried to nick it past Tellez. There was a bit of contact between James and Tellez, but James decided not to go down and chase after the ball instead. It's cleared away eventually, but Chelsea do get it back. Jorginho 30 yards out now. He sends James back down that right hand side. Tellez slips over and James lets fly and then puts the ball into the middle where Marcus Alonso was waiting, tried to get his head on it, and he's just sort of clipped the front of his head, but he's not got a clean connection on it. He's missed it.
Yeah, it's a tricky ball to try and get on the end of here, because he puts it in with pace, but it's like an in-betweener, isn't it? It's either do you go with your foot, do you go with your head in the end? He can't really get there, can he? He knows that it's a great whip delivery from Reece James, but he needs to sort of centre forward, throwing himself at it, and that wasn't what Marcus Alonso was about there.
It's not what Marcus Alonso tends to be about. He's obviously a very attacking fullback. He plays wing back for this Chelsea side at the moment. But, not a natural born finisher or striker who's going to be one running on the end of that. I'll tell you who would have been nice on the end of that. Romelu Lukaku. But, not quite getting any time. Chelsea's memory. Reece James plays a lovely ball through to
flag down
to Werner. The flag is down and he lets fly on his right foot. And it's another great save with the feet of David De Gea. And now the flag's up. That's what we have to do now. We have to wait for the attack to finish off before they put the flag up. And it did look offside at the start, but the flag didn't go up and it allowed Werner to get a shot off.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it, where defenders stop because they're expecting the offside, and then the striker, just have a go here, VAR might reverse it anyway, so he had a shot, but David De Gea definitely covered up his near post there, as he's needed to do on several occasions now. I think count sort of David De Gea's saves in this game, but I need two hands to count now, because I think it's at least 5, maybe 6 saves he's made in the first 32 minutes.
It's more and more likely that Chelsea goal is going to come soon. Just go to that position. Formation there's a lot of wide across the pitch. Diagonal over to Reece James once again, who's in acres space. He fires a ball into Mason Mount. He's deemed to be offside. But once again, I've never seen Reece James in so much space. He's got acres on that right hand side. He can get his head up diagonal over. He's got so much time and space to do everything.
Yeah, it's not as if this should be a surprise to Manchester United. This is how Chelsea play. Reece James is going to give them trouble on that side unless you deal with it. Manchester United have shown no inclination to deal with it. We're seeing Varane now shouting goals at Tellez and saying you need to get closer to that man. But I think Tellez wants to sort of protect his central defender from the pace of Werner. But somebody's got to deal with Reece James, and it's got to be over on that side. Either Rashford comes back or Tellez gets out.
Have to feel like they just about getting to half time at 0-0 Manchester United. Something said by Ralph Rangnick to try and sort out what the substitution. United have the ball now just over the halfway line with Marcus Rashford. He cuts in on his right foot looking for passing options as he's trying to shake off Jorginho. He gives the ball to Ronaldo, who's dropped in deep. He's ready to right down. There's plenty of blue and red shirts ahead of him. He goes for a sideways pass through to Matic. Ball back out wide once more with a right side. Returns the favour with a short pass back to Matic. Conte is the one trying to block off any avenues of passing. He's such an impressive defensive midfielder. Conte, one of the best in the world the past 5 years or so. Managed to do much in the way of stopping an avenue there, but in the end Manchester United overcomplicate the passes and put the ball out for a throw-in to Chelsea on the near side.
Yeah, they're just a little bit overmatched there, Manchester United. I mean, the Reece James conundrum is something that a lot of clubs have faced this season, not just Manchester United here. I think most teams that have played Chelsea when James is in this form have got an issue, but they have to find a solution on the field. And nobody really seems to be taking responsibility to deal with it. Feels like a player of Reece James' quality almost has an inevitability about him, where if
he's on form, you're always going to have that problem. A little bit like Son and Kane at Tottenham. Everyone knows what they're going to do, but they still manage to do it. As Chelsea come forward now with a long ball to Werner, who plays it back to Havertz on his left-hand side. Inside pass to Rudiger at the back. Almost been patient now, Chelsea. They've found avenues where they've kept hold of the ball and found a long ball over the top or a pass out wide. They're just going to hold a bit of possession, every single Manchester United player between Chelsea and the goal at the moment. So they're all sort of packed in, trying to stop Chelsea from finding a pass, but Rudiger will attempt to knock it, which makes it an unselfish run to free up Reece James on that right hand side. He faces up against Tellez once more. This time goes back to Aspilicueta. Back to James, who's really teasing Alex Tellez, who's basically just staring at Reece James and making sure he can be the man to stop him when he does have the ball. Manchester United have won it back and play a long ball forward, searching for Ronaldo. Being cut out by Thiago Silva, and Chelsea at the ball back again. So even when Manchester United do finally win the ball back after that sustain the Chelsea pressure, they seem to give it away so loosely because they're packed in so tightly. There's no one really being able to make a run and make an option off the ball.
Yeah, there's no intensity about Manchester United in defence or attack. You know, there's no real sort of great desire to go and win the ball or to go and press. They are just sort of standing off, hoping that by sitting in these sort of defensive positions that they're going to stop Chelsea just by
as James moves across in towards Havertz, who gets his head on it, and it's good save again by David De Gea in terms of his alertness, but it is once more straight at him. Kai Havertz gets a head on it, and it's a brilliant cross by Reece James. Multiple facets of his game. He can shoot, he can cross, he's always an open option, and he's just been so good for Chelsea tonight, but probably should do better with that header. Havertz, as Jorginho tries to find Havertz once more with a little chipped through pass, he then lays it back to Mount. Ball's back now with James on the right hand side. Mount does a lovely little shimmy to get past Ronaldo, and then James with a fake shot to make the Portuguese star almost lose his footing, and toying with Manchester United at the moment. Chelsea on the far right hand side. Mount crosses another ball in towards the box, but Varane manages to head that one clear, only as far as Jorginho. It comes back wide right again to Aspilicueta. He offloads it to Mason Mount, and then it goes all the way back to Thiago Silva, where they'll comfortably just try and spread the possession and stop things being bunched up in that right hand side for Chelsea, but just are so far on top of this Manchester United team.
It's an absolute football lesson. Manchester United get in front of their own fans. You know, there'll be a real toxic atmosphere as the ball goes into the United penalty area, and they're just like hacking it away, almost like a non-league team, really, with no great idea or cohesion at all.
James does two keepy uppies and then plays the ball into the box because he had so much space and cleared away once more, and then Conte is deemed to have taken down Scott McTominay as he wins the ball and was trying to start Manchester United. And it's a free kick inside their own half as we get another glance at that Reece James cross. It's an absolute inch perfect cross. Just got to think maybe from there Havertz just has to head the ball down.
He's jumped too early. That's his problem. He gets up too early. Perhaps he thinks he has to because Lindelof is sort of just ahead of him there. But think back to the Benzema header against Chelsea in the Champions League final first leg. He did jump too early, but he did hang in the air and headed it back across the keeper to score. Havertz goes too early and doesn't have the strength in his neck muscles to do exactly what Benzema did.
Here's the pace of James once more with Manchester United. A little sort of possession to try and have their own shades off as it towards the Chelsea player. Shelford was possibly a handball, I think, given it did. It might be disappointed Manchester United if Ronaldo's having a choice what he might do over that decision. He was not happy that a free kick wasn't given. It did look like it really did hit the hand of Aspilicueta, but they were down by his side, and it's Reece James on the right hand side once more. It didn't look like intentional handball. We've not had a replay of it since, though, as Reece James becomes slightly more central and it's to Kante, who unloads it to Rudiger, who lets fly from distance, and it's gone way over the bar. Antonio Rudiger maybe dreaming of that Brentford goal, hoping to get another one, but it's a poor effort, really. It's always going over.
It's a weakness in his game that he does that, actually, because it doesn't do his team the favours really. The boss in possession around the opponent's box, and it comes to him, and he more often than not, but too often really for a player with his sort of skill set, he lacks to have a shot. And, he just needs to realise what he's there to do, which is just keep the ball moving to better technical players in those sort of tight situations.
Seeing our pictures are showing both Brian Robson and Sir Alex Ferguson in attendance at Old Trafford this evening. You've got to wonder what they're thinking of the downfall of this Manchester United side over the recent years, and basically since the departure of Sir Alex Ferguson himself. I'm sure he'll probably think if he could get in that changing room at half time and have a few words with those players, he might be able to change what's going on at the club. But it's been far from what anyone would expect from a Manchester United side so far in this first half. Mendy just gives away the ball with a sloppy clearance, and it falls at the feet of Marcus Rashford. Good pressure in the end from the Chelsea defenders to nick the ball away from him, and Chelsea trying to counter-attack. Matic does well to win the ball back. Ronaldo now gives it to McTominay. There's space on the left-hand side for Fernandes. Looks to cut in on his left foot, but then gives it to Ronaldo. Possibly looked offside, but the flag stays down for now, and then it does go up later, as we've been seeing this season. Bruno Fernandes really made an impression. He had an opportunity to get a shot away, and in the end cut back in and then tried to play it.
Well, James is out of position, or he's been caught a little bit high up the field there. First time, and Chelsea look a little bit out of shape for once. But Bruno Fernandes takes the wrong decision. When he does play it through, Ronaldo is on side. That's an incorrect decision with the linesman. But he wasn't going to score from that situation. I mean, once he passed it.
So wide, there wasn't really much of an opportunity anymore. But you are right, an incorrect decision from the linesman. He didn't need to put his flag up because he was onside, but Chelsea with a free kick just inside their own half now. It's Aspilicueta who gives it to Fernandes. Just trying to start again from the back. Spreads a lovely ball out wide left. Tries to find a searching run from Kai Havertz, but it's cleared away by Lindelof. Just as far as a throw in, about halfway in between the 18-yard box and the halfway line, which Marcos Alonso will take for Chelsea's options. Running off the ball, Manchester United doing their best to cancel out any avenue for a pass. It's straight back to Alonso from Kante, who then gives the ball to Chelsea. They just look so dominant in this first half, and it's times like this where they look most dominant. And maybe they're not creating the best opportunities. As I say that, as a ball through from Jorginho searching for Werner, and then it comes back out to Reece James, who tries to cross it once more, looking for Werner. And the first one actually probably was for Mason Mount, and in the end it's cleared away by Manchester United. The patience and how they just hold.
Yeah, I think United are desperate for half time. If they get to half time 0-0, there's a chance for a rethink, and it would have to be a complete sea change in the whole sort of ethos in the second half of what we've seen. They've given away a free kick again in a dangerous position out on the left hand side with McTominay tangling with Mount falling to the ground, winning the free kick, and Chelsea finished the first half on a high note.
Chelsea's right hand side down Mason Mount right about on the edge of the 18-yard box. The actual corner of it behind Mason Mount. It's probably the correct decision to give hobbling and struggling with that challenge, affecting him quite badly. He doesn't look like he's in any sort of comfort, excuse me. It's one of those positions where it almost has to be a cross into the box here. There's no, the closest it is, it's too far behind to be able to shoot. It looks like probably Reece James who will take it. Could be quite talented too. Both great dead ball specialists on that far side of the moment. One man ball for Manchester United. It's Reece James that does cross it in, and Timo Werner rises to try and get his head on it. It takes a slight leg on, and it's headed away by Rafa Varane, only as far as it goes. Tries to chip the ball through to Havertz, and Dalot is there to clear up any danger, put it out for Chelsea throw in, but Another dangerous ball in the box by Reece James, but no one there to beat him.
Yeah, Manchester United, they've had a lot of players back from the original set piece, and they never really, because they're not really getting up the pitch, Manchester United, so they're still back there, having defended the set piece, so they had numbers to cover the next one. Got to say, Mason Mount doesn't look right still after that knock he got from the free kick that he won on the far side. He's still hobbling around a little bit. Maybe, we'll have to have a look at him after.
Certainly does not look quite as comfortable as you'd like him to be. Got plenty of options on the bench for Chelsea. Hakim Ziyech, or plenty of options for Chelsea should they want to make that change at half time. Just to try and clear the ball away for Manchester United and wins them a throw-in as McTominay battles with here in the centre of the pitch. It's going to be a throw-in halfway into their own half. Dalot will take it. Manchester United just 30 seconds remaining of this half. It's still 0-0 in this tie against Manchester United. Game for Manchester United, if they've got any hope of wanting to get into those European places for the Champions League. A little bit more freedom now. He gives it to Havertz on the left hand side. He's got a double man coming over to cover him with McTominay and Dalot, and McTominay dives in and manages to hit the ball off him, and as the ball really didn't go out of play and we had no goals, it's half time straight on the 45-minute mark, and the score is 0-0.
It's half-time at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0, but the Blues by far the better side in the first half. They had a couple of gilt-edged opportunities as well. Worked to Kai Havertz, but he couldn't finish the first one. David De Gea spread his body, and in the second opportunity, a cross by Reece James was headed and saved by the Spanish goalkeeper again. Manchester United created very little in that half. Chelsea have completely bossed it. The biggest concern for them will be how Reece James keeps on popping up on the right-hand side in so much space. So much to fix for Ralph Rangnick at half-time. It's 0-0 at the break. It's half-time at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0, but the Blues by far the better side in the first half. They had a couple of gilt-edged opportunities as well. Worked to Kai Havertz, but he couldn't finish the first one. David De Gea spread his body, and in the second opportunity, a cross by Reece James was headed and saved by the Spanish goalkeeper again. Manchester United created very little in that half. Chelsea have completely bossed it, and the biggest concern for them will be how Reece James keeps on popping up on the right-hand side in so much space. So much to fix for Ralph Rangnick at half-time. It's 0-0 at the break. It's half-time at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0, but the Blues by far the better side in the first half. They had a couple of gilt-edged opportunities as well. Worked to Kai Havertz, but he couldn't finish the first one. David De Gea spread his body, and in the second opportunity, a cross by Reece James was headed and saved by the Spanish goalkeeper again. Manchester United created very little in that half. Chelsea have completely bossed it, and the biggest concern for them will be how Reece James keeps on popping up on the right-hand side in so much space. So much to fix for Ralph Rangnick at half-time. It's 0-0 at the break. It's half-time at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0, but the Blues by far the better side in the first half. They had a couple of gilt-edged opportunities as well. Worked to Kai Havertz, but he couldn't finish the first one. David De Gea spread his body, and in the second opportunity, a cross by Reece James was headed and saved by the Spanish goalkeeper again. Manchester United created very little in that half. Chelsea have completely bossed it, and the biggest concern for them will be how Reece James keeps on popping up on the right-hand side in so much space. So much to fix for Ralph Rangnick at half-time. It's 0-0 at the break. It's half-time at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0, but the Blues by far the better side in the first half. They had a couple of gilt-edged opportunities as well. Worked to Kai Havertz, but he couldn't finish the first one. David De Gea spread his body, and in the second opportunity, a cross by Reece James was headed and saved by the Spanish goalkeeper again. Manchester United created very little in that half. Chelsea have completely bossed it. The biggest concern for them will be how Reece James keeps on popping up on the right-hand side in so much space. So much to fix for Ralph Rangnick at half-time. It's 0-0 at the break. It's half-time at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0, but the Blues by far the better side in the first half. They had a couple of gilt-edged opportunities as well. Worked to Kai Havertz, but he couldn't finish the first one. David De Gea spread his body, and in the second opportunity, a cross by Reece James was headed and saved by the Spanish goalkeeper again. Manchester United created very little in that half. Chelsea have completely bossed it. The biggest concern for them will be how Reece James keeps on popping up on the right-hand side in so much space. So much to fix for Ralph Rangnick at half-time. It's 0-0 at the break. It's half-time at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Manchester United United 0, Chelsea 0, but the Blues by far the better side in the first half. They had a couple of gilt-edged opportunities as well. Worked to Kai Havertz, but he couldn't finish the first one at David De Gea. Spread his body, and in the second opportunity, a cross by Reece James was headed and saved by the Spanish goalkeeper. Again, Manchester United created very little in that half. Chelsea have completely bossed it. The biggest concern for them will be how Reece James keeps on popping up on the right-hand side in so much space. So much to fix for Ralph Rangnick at half-time. It's 0-0 at the break. It's half-time at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0, but the Blues by far the better side in the first half. They had a couple of gilt-edged opportunities as well. Worked to Kai Havertz, but he couldn't finish the first one at David De Gea. Spread his body, and in the second opportunity, a cross by Reece James was headed and saved by the Spanish goalkeeper. Again, Manchester United created very little in that half. Chelsea have completely bossed it. The biggest concern for them will be how Reece James keeps on popping up on the right-hand side in so much space. So much to fix for Ralph Rangnick at half-time. It's 0-0 at the break. It's half-time at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0, but the Blues by far the better side in the first half. They had a couple of gilt-edged opportunities as well. Worked to Kai Havertz, but he couldn't finish the first one at David De Gea. Spread his body, and in the second opportunity, a cross by Reece James was headed and saved by the Spanish goalkeeper. Again, Manchester United created very little in that half. Chelsea have completely bossed it. The biggest concern for them will be how Reece James keeps on popping up on the right-hand side in so much space. So much to fix for Ralph Rangnick at half-time. It's 0-0 at the break. It's half-time at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0, but the Blues by far the better side in the first half. They had a couple of gilt-edged opportunities as well. Worked to Kai Havertz, but he couldn't finish the first one at David De Gea. Spread his body, and in the second opportunity, a cross by Reece James was headed and saved by the Spanish goalkeeper. Again, Manchester United created very little in that half. Chelsea have completely bossed it. The biggest concern for them will be how Reece James keeps on popping up on the right-hand side in so much space. So much to fix for Ralph Rangnick at half-time. It's 0-0 at the break. It's half-time at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0, but the Blues by far the better side in the first half. They had a couple of gilt-edged opportunities as well. Worked to Kai Havertz, but he couldn't finish the first one at David De Gea. Spread his body, and in the second opportunity, a cross by Reece James was headed and saved by the Spanish goalkeeper. Again, Manchester United created very little in that half. Chelsea have completely bossed it. The biggest concern for them will be how Reece James keeps on popping up on the right-hand side in so much space. So much to fix for Ralph Rangnick at half-time. It's 0-0 at the break. It's half-time at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0, but the Blues by far the better side in the first half. They had a couple of gilt-edged opportunities as well. Worked to Kai Havertz, but he couldn't finish the first one at David De Gea. Spread his body, and in the second opportunity, a cross by Reece James was headed and saved by the Spanish goalkeeper. Again, Manchester United created very little in that half. Chelsea have completely bossed it. The biggest concern for them will be how Reece James keeps on popping up on the right-hand side in so much space. So much to fix for Ralph Rangnick at half-time. It's 0-0 at the break. It's half-time at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0, but the Blues by far the better side in the first half. They had a couple of gilt-edged opportunities as well. Worked to Kai Havertz, but he couldn't finish the first one at David De Gea. Spread his body, and in the second opportunity, a cross by Reece James was headed and saved by the Spanish goalkeeper. Again, Manchester United created very little in that half. Chelsea have completely bossed it. The biggest concern for them will be how Reece James keeps on popping up on the right-hand side in so much space. So much to fix for Ralph Rangnick at half-time. It's 0-0 at the break. It's half-time at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0, but the Blues by far the better side in the first half. They had a couple of gilt-edged opportunities as well. Worked to Kai Havertz, but he couldn't finish the first one at David De Gea. Spread his body, and in the second opportunity, a cross by Reece James was headed and saved by the Spanish goalkeeper. Again, Manchester United created very little in that half. Chelsea have completely bossed it. The biggest concern for them will be how Reece James keeps on popping up on the right-hand side in so much space. So much to fix for Ralph Rangnick at half-time. It's 0-0 at the break. It's half-time at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0, but the Blues by far the better side in the first half. They had a couple of gilt-edged opportunities as well. Worked to Kai Havertz, but he couldn't finish the first one at David De Gea. Spread his body, and in the second opportunity, a cross by Reece James was headed and saved by the Spanish goalkeeper. Again, Manchester United created very little in that half. Chelsea have completely bossed it. The biggest concern for them will be how Reece James keeps on popping up on the right-hand side in so much space. So much to fix for Ralph Rangnick at half-time. It's 0-0 at the break. It's half-time at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0, but the Blues by far the better side in the first half. They had a couple of gilt-edged opportunities as well. Worked to Kai Havertz, but he couldn't finish the first one at David De Gea. Spread his body, and in the second opportunity, a cross by Reece James was headed and saved by the Spanish goalkeeper. Again, Manchester United created very little in that half. Chelsea have completely bossed it. The biggest concern for them will be how Reece James keeps on popping up on the right-hand side in so much space. So much to fix for Ralph Rangnick at half-time. It's 0-0 at the break. It's half-time at Old Trafford in the Premier League. Manchester United 0, Chelsea 0, but the Blues by far the better side in the first.
Not one. Not one. You must be there. You got to the bottom. You can tell Habis dah surat kafe, jadi kita nggak sadar awal aja. Anda ada keluar. Anda ada keluar tu. Mandi वाला kalau saya cerita sih soalnya mandi berunda kerja di luarnya. Tahu di pasar atau kayak ada di pasar. Pasar atau kayak. Tahu. Ya tadi kita lihat. Maharaja बोलता Ficar nessa brecha. Ficar de cara, mas Memang di sempurna di dar tu matlab deh. Sempurna di dar te kata jadi di tu matlab deh. Makan mu.
बिल्कुल ना
हाँ
बिल्कुल ना
ये नहीं निशे सारा
सारा कीड़े निकले
जी ना जवाब दे
ले मतलब देख
कनु मन डाला है ना dia tahu cari dia sempurna di dar tu. Dar.
कीड़े ज्यादा
Chore. Aku menjaga anak-anak ini. Mereka lihat apa dan dari dari taraf apa taraf.
لا كاكي هو بيالك بيشتري مرغوسكي
Classic chance here, played in towards the penalty spot. Back to goal there, it's played back to Mount, who goes the left foot shot. No real sort of venom or accuracy in the strike, and it goes well wide of target.
It's just sort of dragged that one, Mason Mount. It's an early chance. It's almost a bit of a half chance, really, on his weak foot. But sweeps his leg at it. But early signs again for Manchester United that it all starts on that right-hand side from Reece James. A man's found in the middle, and there's a shooting opportunity already for Chelsea. So Manchester United still plenty of work to do in this second half.
So goal kick to be taken by David De Gea. He's been media this week, so he's embarrassed by Manchester United's season, really, and it's the kind of answer you don't want to hear, but it's actually, it's a true reflection of how it's gone for a player like him who's seen it all. As Tomlin wins a header in midfield, drops over Alanga's head. James just draws the foul with a bit of contact there, gets himself out of a tricky situation. He was going nowhere. He was really an option to pass it to, so he just walked an easy foul.
Yeah, a bit of inexperience as well, I think, from Alanga. Probably had him cornered in that position, and maybe a more experienced player might think, well, I can sit off him here, he's not going anywhere, rather than putting the foot in to get that foul.
Well, United do rush in to make a challenge and win the ball back from Vernon. Now it's with Bruno Fernandes, deep ball to the back post, Ronaldo peeling away, tries to win the header and knock it back towards Alanga, but it's falling clear by Thiago Silva. Handball against Havertz, controlled a high one, came towards him. It's a bit of a mistake, and United have a free kick just inside the Chelsea half. It's a bit further on than I initially thought, because this one's about 40 yards out. Ronaldo's got a knock after jumping with Chelsea defender Rudiger a moment ago. He's going to soldier on. So Chelsea United with an attacking set piece, very central, about 15 or 20 yards outside the box. Alex Telles stands over it. Matic made a late run there, but Telles wasn't even looking in his direction. Chelsea trying to push out from the edge of the box, goes into the penalty area, flicked on towards Matic, who's going to get it onto his right foot now. Gets to the byline, puts the ball across the face of goal. Ronaldo tried to get there, and it's somehow scraped away by Chelsea. United pick it up again though with Telles, who goes on the outside, puts the ball in, cleared at the near post, but United pick it up once more through McTominay. He's lost it in a crowd of bodies, and now Chelsea will counter-attack, and it's 3-on-2. Chelsea should put this one away now with Havertz leading the charge. You've got Werner outside him, he goes back towards Conte, That was intercepted by Bruno Fernandes of all players.
Yeah, Bruno Fernandes getting back to help Manchester United try and save themselves there. As you say, it really should have been a better opportunity for Chelsea. They're coming forward 3-on-2 at the time, and Fernandes just managed to get back in time to clear up and clean up that Havertz sloppy pass as he was trying to find Kante. But it all comes from the other end of the pitch, where Manchester United probably got the closest they've been in this entire game, as Matic just fired a ball across the basic goal down what is probably the definition of the corridor of uncertainty, and Ronaldo just can't quite get on the end of it.
Yeah, Thiago Silva actually got his body out of the way, didn't fancy stopping that cross, as United played up towards Rashford, who's playing to a more central now, knocks it back and then loses out as the return pass from Dalot not good enough. Chelsea working towards Mount, but Lindelof's on his touch, but Mount scrapping for it, plays it wide, and now Havertz has a chance to advance. He's got James making great run through the middle, but it's not found, and it's fired across, comes off Elanga's body and goes behind for a Chelsea corner, I think. But there were some sloppy passes in there again. Werner should have got it out to James quicker, and then Mount with a very strange sort of fired pass into the penalty area. He gets lucky, it comes off a United player.
Yeah, he does get lucky, but it's sort of taken that deflection out for a throw in for Chelsea, because you'd think that that's probably just firing straight out for a goal kick if someone doesn't get in the way of that. Sorry, a corner even, and never mind. It's not the greatest pass back. There's been, Chelsea have obviously been the better side, but make no mistake, there's definitely been a lack of quality in their attacks at times and in their passing. And had they had that quality, at Man City or Liverpool, they'd have been punished by United.
Alonso's corner is headed away, and maybe punched away by De Gea. United clear their lines, but Jorginho just gets there ahead of Ronaldo. He's fouled him to get there though, so it's going to be a free. In fact, the referee spotted a head injury here, maybe to Rashford. I think he stopped him for that before the next challenge. So I'm not sure what the referee's going to restart the game with here, because if he sees the head injuries, he's gone down holding his head, but there's no contact with Rashford's head here from James.
It's a shoulder-to-shoulder challenge. If there's anything with the head, I don't know whether his neck's cranked or anything, but I can't see any contact with the head there. It's a strong challenge from James. It's shoulder-to-shoulder. Yeah, maybe he's barged him a bit much when you give a free kick, but
it's a foul, I suppose.
Yeah, certainly not a head injury.
So he's obviously given it there for the earlier incident, the one that came just after it. So free kick to Manchester United. And, Hale will hit this one long out towards the left-hand side, where it's nodded back by Azpilicueta. Matic lets it bounce, and he's in a wrestling match with the Spaniard, but plays it off James's feet for a Manchester United throw-in. It's another one that's likely to be elsewhere next season. Nemanja Matic, talk of Roma wanting him. He's obviously Jose Mourinho foot soldier for his time at Chelsea and Manchester United. Ronaldo's going to take a throw in. He's going to leave it to a teammate, trots towards the penalty area. Thrown into Bruno Fernandes, comes off Elanga. Last, I think it's going to be a Chelsea throw in this time. So a scrappy period of play just after half time as Chelsea get it to Jorginho. Ball into Havertz's feet, laid off to Werner. Now Mount released on the halfway line. He goes with a lovely crossfield sweeping ball out towards Alonso. He's one-on-one with Dalot. Comes in on his weaker right foot, chips it into the penalty area. That's an easy one for the United defence to deal with in the end through Telles. Matic can slam this one high and long. There's good distance on it, but it's a bit of a mismatch there. Thiago Silva had two teammates alongside him, and Ronaldo had little support, so Chelsea will move forward again via Rudiger. So, Havertz outside picking a little darting run to sort of check back for the ball as it was behind him. As it back to Jorginho. Now Conte, centre of the park, 25 yards out, ball intercepted by Telles, comes back to Azpilicueta. Chelsea moving quickly though, first time passing to Mount, good ball to the back post and a sliding Werner, can't quite get there. He's ended up in the back of the net there, Timo Werner, when it seemed easy to score.
Yeah, it's a really nice ball in from Mason Mount, and Werner's doing everything to get into that position, but he just can't quite get on the end of the cross in the end. He's sliding through to get there, and it's just a matter of inches away from getting there. If he starts his run maybe slightly earlier, he probably gets onto it, but then there's the question of would he be offside, but another dangerous ball into the box from Chelsea, and Really should have gone by now.
Chelsea still on the attack, but Matic dispossesses Conte, and then Conte wins it back. On the edge of the Manchester United penalty area, Tomlin goes feet first, somehow gets the ball. Chelsea working it beyond though, with some nice one-touch passing. Intricate, maybe too intricate for the Blues. Matic again comes away with the ball. Nowhere to pass it to, it's hit it long. He just find Rashford's feet, first time play over to Alanga, who jinxes away past the one defender, then comes off the hands of the next defender, and that will be a free kick and possibly a yellow card to Cesar Azpilicueta, who's claiming that he was lying on the ground and the ball was played into him, but he stopped it with his hand there.
He certainly has, and I'd be shocked if he didn't get a yellow card here, because it looks abundantly obvious to me that he's dived in the way of that ball and put his hands up to try and stop it in some way. Well, I'm not the referee, mind you, he's decided it's not a yellow card, but I think
you have to put a bit of common sense there, but yeah, you've seen him as that's stopped counter-attack. It's a good ball to leave, if you like, a good handball to make the Chelsea defender misfortunes the way it struck him. So is United's free kick opportunity then? Tellez over it. It's played short to McTominay. It's wide to the back post. It's gone over the head of everybody. That is definitely not one from a training ground, or certainly one that needs more rehearsals.
Yeah, I think it's probably something they have had planned, but it's not gone to plan at all, and it's a really poor ball into the box from McTominay. And it's a shame from a Manchester United point of view, that one. They came forward with what looked like a really promising counter-attack, obviously stunted by that handball, and then they made a real hash of that opportunity from the free kick.
Challenge by Bruno Fernandes brings Reece James down on the right-hand side. It would be a free kick and not throw it. Throw it. So James is going to throw it in. Control as well from Conte, gives it away. Now he's chasing Bruno Fernandes, but he gets a foot in there. The Frenchman finds the route to Alonso. Alonso down the left-hand side into Werner's feet. Further away from the goal by Lindelof's presence, goes back to Conte. Chelsea just taking 1 or 2 touches too many at the moment, slows things down. It's going to be all done first time really, but they're taking 2 touches and the United have got bodies back, and then there's a mistake there from Chelsea, it's back to the halfway line. Now Chelsea come again with Azpilicueta, Jorginho, to the Chelsea skipper. Jorginho sorts his feet out. Back to Thiago Silva. And he looks up, he sees no movement, has to go with a drilled ball out to the right, but that is almost going to find Reece James, just skips on off the turf and goes behind the goal kick.
Yeah, it's a nice long ball through for Thiago Silva. He's covering his face. He knows that if he'd have got that just an inch slightly better, then Reece James would have been in, and there was options in the middle as well, but he can't quite get on his foot on it. James, he's maybe just set off slightly too late, but another example of James down that right hand side in a lot of space. He's not quite had as many opportunities or as much space on that side in this second half as he did in the first. Obviously, something that probably was spoken about at half time by the Manchester United players and staff, but he's still always going to find that space. We spoke about it earlier. If you've got a player of the level of his quality, he's always going to cause problems for the opposition he's playing against.
Well, United have switched Alanga with Rashford, because in the first half Rashford was giving Tellez just no help at all, but Alanga on that occasion, again, he doesn't communicate with Tellez. They don't speak the same language either, but Tellez just wasn't aware of James making the run, and he makes that run as soon as he sees Thiago Silva sort of cock his leg back to hit the pass, and it's perfectly timed and almost cut United open again. Here come Chelsea winning the ball back through Rudiger, and he starts to charge forward now, matched by McTominay. Plays it inside, it's going to be dealt with by Dallo. De Gea clears. Up towards halfway line, Ronaldo trying to back into Thiago Silva, wins the header, but only falls to Azpilicueta. He's closed down quickly by 2 players, but manages to work it back eventually to Mendy. And Chelsea begin again through Jorginho. Alonso, foot in there though, good press from United this time. Bruno Fernandes knocking it out for a throw. Not sure whether Ten Hag is going to try and implement a press right from pre-season next year, or whether it's something they'll try and develop over time, but just doesn't really have the players to do that. You know, as Solskjaer found out, as Ralf Rangnick's found out, just can't turn these players into something else overnight. ball forward is hit hopelessly long, and United give it away to Chelsea again with Thiago Silva. Out to the right is Mason Mount in 10-15 yards of space. He's got Telles backing off towards the penalty area. James on the overlap. Mike finds James now on the right hand side. Into the feet of Werner. Werner trying to work a shooting angle. Really able to turn there, so he goes back to Jorginho, now to James again. James with a ball that's come off the body of Telles and goes behind for a Chelsea corner.
Does, and Chelsea just seeming to be able to creep their way in slightly more into this half, but like you said, the press has been slightly better from Manchester United as well, and they had a real opportunity to try and nick the ball off Azpilicueta at the back moments ago, and if they can continue that, they might be able to get it in slightly better positions higher up the pitch and create something, but it is a Chelsea corner for now.
Played short to Mount, who puts a cross into the penalty area. It's headed up in the air. Werner at the far post can't quite get onto it, and it's hooked back towards David De Gea, who can claim it. Werner and Havertz just not on the same wavelength there, but it was off the cuff stuff. Now James gets back in a defensive position and stops Rashford, as if he's just taking candy from a baby there, really. So Chelsea have it again with Alonso. Alonso just lopes forward, then goes on the sort of extended run as he leaves that one for Werner. And they go back towards Conte. Conte drops a shoulder, knocks it wide to Azpilicueta, to the edge of the box, flicking it wide to James, the architect of most dangerous balls. It goes to the penalty area now on the far post. A volley from Alonso finds the back of the net. It had been coming. It was flicked on, and Alonso carried on that run into the penalty area and dispatched the volley into the far corner to make it Manchester United 0, Chelsea 1.
Yeah, it certainly had been coming, and it's a very, very good finish from Marcos Alonso on the volley. The cross comes in from James. He's got plenty of space as Manchester United sort of pull players out of position to allow James that space on the right-hand side. It's then just knocked across to him. The cross comes in, it's then nodded away, and it's not quite cleared or had got proper connection on it from anyone, and then it falls straight to the feet of Alonso, and it's a venomous volley into that bottom corner. It's well placed, but also he's put a lot of power on that as well.
Yeah, just sort of drifted into the penalty area, didn't he, Alonso? And Dalot looking after him at the moment as we see the replay, and then when the flick goes in, Dalot gets caught under the ball, and Alonso was behind him to rocket the volley home past David De Gea. You've got to feel sorry for De Gea. He's not had much protection in front of him. He's dealt with most things, but he can't stop that one from Marcos Alonso. And Chelsea finally get their lead.
Lindelof absolutely nowhere near Havertz, really. There's a good metre in between them, and when that cross first comes in, and it just allows Havertz to knock that ball on. It's a really untidy header from Havertz. He's bent down quite far. It comes off almost like his back, shoulder and head at the same time, but it luckily falls straight at the feet of Alonso, and it is a really nice volley and a well-deserved 1-0 to Chelsea at the moment.
Ball towards Ronaldo. He tries to fire across him, but Rudiger stops it, and then it comes off Ronaldo as he tries to challenge the German. So throw in to Chelsea. Their fans enjoying themselves with wild celebrations as Alonso went over to that corner of the ground. Manchester United fans trying to rally their side now as it's played forward again by Matic, cut out by Conte, drops to the Serbian again and flicks it over the top. Chance for Ronaldo here, great first time control, and a finish for the Portuguese to make it 1 apiece.
Yeah, what a goal. Cristiano Ronaldo, the touch is fantastic and the finish is thunderous into that top of the net. It's one of those ones where there are plenty of players in that position that would sort of panic, not know where to put the ball, but it's instinctive from the goal scorer. He just plucks it out of the air and then volleys it into the roof of the net. Well, not volleys, but half volley almost into the roof of the net, and it's a really nice goal from him, and a nice little ball over the top, and a bit of a good passage of play from Manchester United, something we've not seen. They win the ball high up the pitch as Kante sort of misplaces his pass, and it's won back early, and then once again he's a bit of miscontrol from Kante, and the ball over the top is lovely from Matic, and he stays just about onside Ronaldo, and it's a really, really nice goal.
It is a fantastic finish from Ronaldo. I think that might be his, guessing a little bit, it's his 17th or 18th league goal of the season. It's quite a few he scored. He got the hat-trick against Norwich, scored against Arsenal, and for a player clearly past his prime, he has contributed this season. I think there'll be a pretty clear vote for him to be, well, I'll be surprised if he wasn't Manchester United's player of the season. But Ronaldo has brought them back on level terms. Scantly deserved by Manchester United because they've not been in the game, but one moment of quality as brought the game back level. Here come Chelsea then with Jorginho, who goes long towards Havertz. Havertz now waits for Mount to go past him to create some space. Finds Mount, it goes across the goal, and it's blocked by Varane behind for a corner.
Yeah, it's well defended by Varane, but once again Chelsea coming forward well, and this game's opened up now after Manchester United have managed the equaliser, and it just shows what Cristiano Ronaldo does for a team. It's this United side has been nowhere near enough in this game. They've not had the opportunities, but if you've got the quality of a player like Cristiano Ronaldo in your side, you're always going to be able to get back in a game if you give him the opportunity to score. But Chelsea with the corner at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to be taken over on the right hand side by either Mount or Alonso. Mount's got one arm raised. Alonso will leave it for the Englishman to hit a high one to the back post. United get it away through Matic, drops on the edge, and the volley from Azpilicueta is high, wide and handsome. That's with Jorginho.
It's not the nicest of volleys. It's gone very, very high, but if it had gone in the back of the net, we'd have probably been looking at the goal of the season contender, but nowhere near from Jorginho. And
from his point of view, that's about the second best place you can put it, really, isn't it? You just don't lose the ball in that position when you're on the edge of the box trying to, stop a counter attack.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the pace that this United side has going forward, and I think there's maybe a couple shaky nerves now, thinking, look, we need a goal. We've finally got it, and as soon as we did, we've given it away from the United point.
Chelsea have up the pace again, put another ball into the penalty area, scraped away by Telles, and Matic can draw United clear. Ball over the top here, looking for Rashford, but he's way off it there. And it's headed easily down by Thiago Silva. Good flow to this game. It's opened up, hasn't it, second half? Not that it wasn't open at times in the first period, but United were all behind the ball for long periods. Chelsea had 70-80% possession in that first period, but it's a bit more even now. Ball to the back post there. Elanga has to go back and head away. Now Ronaldo comes deep to forage for the ball. Varane gives it away in the box. Ronaldo should just win that one from Azpilicueta. He's been brought down. The referee says no free kick, so Chelsea have it with James. Played into the penalty area. Havertz falls over. Werner trying to make something of it. Fly hacked away by Dallo to the halfway line. And Thiago Silva now lets this one drop. Back header towards Mendy. To the edge of his D. Plays it out to Rudiger. Chelsea begin again with 25 minutes to go. They worked hard for an hour to get their lead, but they had it for barely 2 minutes. Now it's gone out to the right again for James, the danger man tonight, finding Mount just ahead of him. Draws two United players to him, and now James bursts past Elanga into the penalty area, goes to the byline, can't put the cross in. Now Matic, who's had a good game tonight fighting fires, puts it behind for a corner. Now there's a bit of a wrestle between those two. He's got hold of his shirt, and Mount has to come between the two players there for a bit of nonsense.
Yeah, nothing really happened. The two just sort of rolled on top of each other after the ball was cleared away, and then James found himself on top of Matic. There was a grabbing of shirts and a stern look in the face, but neither raising any hands or touching heads or anything like that. It shouldn't be anything from the referee. We've seen a lot of that recently, players sort of getting on top of it. However, if we look at that, I'm not sure, maybe Matic stepped on Reece James. He certainly didn't need to if he did.
He was trying to start something there, wasn't he, Nemanja Matic? And Reece James, to his credit, has walked away from the situation, which is what you want to see. Because clearly Manchester United have worked out that they want Reece James off the pitch here. The best way to do it is to kick him off or is to get him sent off. And Matic was trying to do both there, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. He does stand on him though, Matic, but not obvious enough for it to be any sort of card for him.
Dark arcs there from the Serbian. Here comes the corner as it's played into the penalty area, headed away by Alex Telles. Rudiger wins the next one. It's scrappy in the box. They're shouting for handball. Chelsea is McTominay struggles to get away, but there's a counter-attack chance. Poorly poured ball, poorly played ball though, doesn't release Rashford, and Conte nips in, as he's been doing for so many years now. Chelsea back on the front foot now with Thiago Silva. Just waits, knocks it back to Rudiger inside the centre circle. Goes out to Azpilicueta. Then into the feet of Conte. Back to Mount. James turns away from one challenge. Ronaldo's trying to have a go at him now. They're all kicking him in turns there, Manchester United. And they finally get a free kick there, Chelsea. Mike Dean pulling it back after there was no advantage to the Blues.
Yeah, he did so well, Reece James. He beat about 4 men, and then he had everyone around him trying to kick him down, and he still managed to get the ball out of his feet to one of his players. But in the end, it was miscontrolled, so the advantage ended. But yeah, they are all trying to kick him at the moment.
I mean, you can see why Jose Mourinho's signed Nemanja Matic twice, can't you? Because it's exactly the sort of thing that Mourinho would tell his players to do in this situation. You're up against a guy who's basically running the game and causing the most problems, then just work out a way of dealing with him, and whether it's fair means or foul, Nemanja Matic has taken.
Remaining of the game, obviously we'll probably have a bit of added time with those goals, and it's Chelsea with the ball now with N'Golo Kante. He's had a mixed game. He's been very good on the ball, but a couple sloppy passes at times as well, and maybe a bit of poor positioning from Kante, but some really nice attacking passes from him as well. It's not normally a mixed figure. He's often so consistent. As a long ball comes over the top to James, he tries to head the ball in towards Werner, but it's cleared away only as far as Mount, who stumbles as he tries to control it, but manages to gather his feet to find the pass to Azpilicueta. And there's a serious high press coming on from Ronaldo. He's screaming at his teammates, trying to get them to join him in putting pressure on those Chelsea players, as Rudiger searches at a long ball for Havertz, but it's cleared away well by Lindelof to Matic, who then offloads the ball to Elanga. United just need to get the ball clear here. They're under so much pressure from Chelsea as Ronaldo spreads it wide towards Dalot, and there's a man down in the middle of the pitch in the shape of Bruno Fernandes. Nothing doing for the referee in terms of stopping it though, but it will be a free kick to Chelsea as Marcos Alonso is pulled to the ground.
I've got to say, I think Mike Dean has refereed this quite sensibly, and he isn't buying the Manchester United nonsense at the moment. You know, they can't get the ball out of defence. Players are going down trying to win free kicks that aren't there, and he's just saying play on. And when players go down, and the crowd are obviously on his back as well, because they see that their team are essentially down to 10 men with a player on the deck, he's just saying, look, there's no foul, get on with things, and it's probably for the good of the game.
He certainly is, and it's going to be a change, well, two changes for Chelsea as they search for a goal to try and take the lead again. They held it for such a short amount of time, and it's going to be Kai Havertz going off in place of Romelu Lukaku, as well as Christian Pulisic, who's going to be coming on. And I think that one, what I saw, was going to be for Timo Werner, but we'll just await confirmation of that one. But the first confirmed one is Romelu Lukaku on for Kai Havertz, who just hasn't had his shooting boots on today for Chelsea, and it is Timo Werner that's gone off for Christian Pulisic. So Pulisic, who grabbed the late winner against West Ham at the weekend, will be hoping to replicate that sort of goal and those sorts of minutes if he can for Chelsea this evening. And it's them on the board at the moment with Mason Mount on the right hand side. Tellez really just trying to block off any sort of pass for him to make, so he has to turn back and find a supporting teammate in Jorginho. It does find its way back to Mount eventually, and then James on the right hand side, who delivers a cross in, and it's just off the toe of Tellez. It almost looked like he might have put that into the back of his own net, but it's gone out for a corner in the end. He's done well to get a foot on it to try and stop it, because it was a very, very nice low driven cross from James, but did almost put it towards his own net.
What's it going to take for them to stop Reece James's supply line from this side? I mean, it might take drastic action, but I don't know. He just keeps on getting to those positions, doesn't he, and keeps on causing danger.
Yeah, corner in there from Marcos Alonso. No one really there to greet it. It goes away, but only as far as Reece James once again, who puts a delicious cross into the box, and there was plenty of blue shirts in there, and in the end it falls to Fernandes, who has no choice to do anything but just knock it straight out of play. But it's just every ball that Reece James puts into the box is causing all sorts of trouble.
Yeah, well, no word of a lie, Josh. Reece James has put in more quality crosses in this match than Manchester United have had all season.
You certainly feel like that's the case. They've not managed to find any of their players today in terms of those crosses, and all season they've really struggled as they've gone on, and Reece James has just had so many opportunities to play those balls in, and I'm sure Thomas Tuchel won't be happy with the fact that not as many of them has found a man or being put in the back of the net, but they'll continue playing them in as they put one in here, this time from Mount, and it's cleared away, and a chance for Manchester United to counter-attack as Rashford looks wide right towards Fernandes, who slips once again. We've seen quite a few players falling to the ground with a slip this evening, and Bruno Fernandes joins the list there, and once again a counter-attack for Manchester United, spoilt in the way of a falling player, but both teams have to play on the same pitch, as much as Thomas Tuchel made his feelings made about the slippy surface at Stamford Bridge. It seems to be Manchester United that are slipping at Old Trafford, and ball now with Azpilicueta on the right hand side. options ahead of him in terms of Lukaku, who's pointing exactly where he wants the ball, but in the end it goes to James, who's a nice little bit of skill to get past the Langer and then find Jorginho in the middle. He switches it out wide left towards Alonso, and they're just being patient once again. Chelsea, it was beginning to look a bit frantic in the way they were playing, but just patience. But the press is a little bit heavier from Manchester United as Ronaldo comes back to try and help. A little dinked ball over from Pulisic to Kante. He returns the favour back to Pulisic. There's option to the middle. It's delivered to the middle, and Mason Mount was waiting, but Tellez was alert to the situation and got in there to tidy things up and get the ball away. He gives it to Ronaldo, who's then fouled by Antonio Rudiger, and it will be a free kick to Manchester United in their own half.
Yeah, Ronaldo doing his bit there, just desperately trying to come back and help his team out. And then when he wins the ball, when he finds himself on the ball, he does the right thing and wins the free kick. And so the team can all get out as well, because they've been so deep for the last 10 minutes really since they scored. They've been forced back through Chelsea's pressure. They haven't been able to get out. It's almost like they needed that free kick just to take a bit of a breather as well.
Absolutely, but they've given it away straight away, and it's Marcos Alonso once more on the left-hand side. The ball then back with Jorginho, who returns a pass to Kante, but a great tackle by Dalot, who slides in and wins it back for Manchester United. Rashford now on the right-hand side. He's trying to find some sort of option, but had to work to get the ball out of his feet. Then Fernandes taken down by N'Golo Kante. Well, a mixture of N'Golo Kante and Jorginho. Jorginho holding his knee, Fernandes back to his feet, but it's an opportunity on the far side for Man United to try and work the ball out of trouble, and Chelsea playing another one of those tactical fouls that just breaks down a counter-attack.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know who actually wanted the free kick more there, whether Chelsea wanted to give it away to stop United, or whether United wanted to take the free kick to just take a breather. They've got a lot of veteran players out there, and maybe they're out. They've put into the second half. It's been a better effort for Manchester United in the second half. Maybe it's taken its toll on them physically now. Ralph Rangnick yet to make a change. Maybe it's not much on the bench. I've got to say, I think Rashford's making some very poor decisions, and he's not really making the right type of runs that he needs to make to stretch the Chelsea defence. When the ball's played to him there, he was basically offering for a short pass rather than going over the top. Use your attributes. He's got pace. Go over the top. I know he's up against Thiago Silva. Just run him. Even if he's marked, he'll create space for somebody else by forcing the Chelsea defence back. And he's just not doing the right things.
He's not quite the player that he was a few seasons ago when he first broke onto the scene. Marcus Rashford has been a frustrating year for him, losing his place in the England squad as well. And Chelsea could well be forced to make their third change of the game, as Jorginho has been down on the floor for about 2 minutes now. He's had a bit of a magic sprayed onto his knee as they're trying to keep him on the pitch. I'm not really sure they've got anyone they could bring on for him. Maybe Saul Niguez, but he's really not got many minutes in this season, Saul, and well, he's going to carry on for now, but might be a shadow of the player he can be, Jorginho, if he is holding it. Play back underway, and it's a throw into Manchester United inside Chelsea's half on this near side, on Manchester United's left side, and it's Alex Tellez that will take it. He's trying to wait for some sort of movement from Manchester United players around him. He plays a little 1-2 with Ronaldo in the end. Ronaldo then just knocks the ball off Aspilicueta for another Manchester United throw in, and they'll be happy to just keep the ball inside Chelsea's half if they can have a prolonged period of pressure inside their half. It will be the first time we've really seen them do it in this second half, as Matic manages to win a loose ball that was played back to him, but Dalot only headers it back towards Chelsea, and then Rudiger clears it away, but only as far as a Manchester United player. The ball pinging around between both teams as Mason Mount puts Varane under enough pressure for him to just pass the ball back to his goalkeeper, and De Gea will offload it straight back to the Frenchman, and not really putting him under pressure. De Gea might be forced to play the ball long, and he is, as Lukaku joined in the press too, and the clearance from the goalkeeper just goes straight back to Thiago Silva, and Chelsea comfortably with the ball at the back now, as press from Manchester United hasn't been as intense as they probably would have liked in the second half. They tried it for a period of time, trying to win that ball back off Chelsea, but they are trying a little bit more here, and Alonso struggling to find a passage. Ronaldo is joining in on the press now, and he's put Thiago Silva under pressure, and well, they've done so well to get it out there, Chelsea, and with Pulisic on the left-hand side, who just can't quite keep it in control, but nice quick passing from Chelsea's back five to get out in a bit of trouble there.
It's hard when you're up against a team who don't press with any great regularity, because you don't know when it's coming, do you? So there's just absolutely out of nowhere, there's a chance here for Ronaldo.
Yeah, there is. Ronaldo's running in on the right-hand side. He's only got Thiago Silva to beat. He shoots from distance and is saved by Mendy, then cleared away by Thiago Silva. And then the flag goes up once more from the linesman. And how many times have we seen it? Well, it just keeps on happening. I mean, this one is obvious. He's a good 2 yards offside, and we wait until the shot comes off before the flag goes up. But we are going to see the first change for Manchester United. I think it might be 2 changes from what I could see, and it's going to be Nemanja Matic, who's making way for Phil Jones, who's going to be coming on. He's obviously
change of formation, 3 at the back. So Jones won't play holding midfield. He'll go into centre back, and they'll go wing backs now, I think.
The other change is going to be Marcus Rashford, who, as you said, hadn't been making the best decisions. He's coming off, and veteran Juan Mata coming on to face his old team, Chelsea. He obviously signed from Chelsea for what looked to be a real positive signing for Manchester United, but never quite lived up to the reputation he had at the Blues during his time at Manchester United. And Jones involved early under pressure from Lukaku, trying to clear the ball away. Does well, but only as far as Christian Pulisic. The ball won back straight away by Manchester United, though, and McTominay tries to run out, but he's just giving it sloppily away to Kante, and it goes into a ball on the left-hand side with Reece James, and he's just clipped the outside of the post. It went into Mason Mount, who played a little flick back to Reece James. It was a clever little flick from the England midfielder. Plays it back to his teammate Reece James, who opens up his body on his left foot and trying to curl it past De Gea. It looked for the life of him like it was definitely going wide, but it just kept curling, and it hits the outside of the left upright for David De Gea, and it goes out for a goal kick.
Yeah, Conte brilliant, winning it back from McTominay. Played the ball into Mount. If he's got a left foot, Mount should be shooting there, but he hasn't got a left foot, and he gives it to a player in a worse position than himself. And fair play to Reece James, because he's tried with his left foot. You know, he's gone with a swinger there, and he's almost pulled off the perfect club into the far corner and just clips the outside of the post. But he's been man of the match by an absolute mile tonight, Reece James. It would have been a fitting sort of finale really to the game if he was to score the win.
It certainly would have been, and we've just seen the match. Chelsea have had 18 shots, but only managed to get 1 goal from those 18 and not had them. Someone who just can't seem to play, but he's back on his feet. He's soldiering through, but you've got to think that Thomas Tuchel will be thinking about bringing him off with just 10 minutes of this game remaining, and still need a goal. Chelsea, they'll definitely feel they deserve to win this game the way they've played, as Pulisic comes surging through the middle. He gives the ball to Mason Mount, spreads it wide to Alonso, a little fake shot from him, but then doesn't choose to use his right foot, but it bounces back to Reece James, who lets fly once again, and Alex Telles does well to get his body in the way and deflect it out for a corner. But there's another one there where it's just Marcus Alonso cuts in so well that it's opened wide up for him to have a shot on his right foot, but once again it's a player who doesn't have a weak foot, and so he lets fly on his left, and he's never really going to score with his left from there. Corner comes in from Alonso here though, towards Lukaku. He just about misses it. Rudiger's in behind him to try and get his head on it. It glances off the head of the German centre back and out for a goal kick for Manchester United, and with just 9 minutes remaining, you've got to think that Chelsea are beginning to look frustrated and beginning to look like they really need this goal, because they deserve to win this game so far.
I think they'll get it, Josh. I think there's enough space out there. I think they've got the freshness now, got some momentum behind them. I think, you know, Manchester United, you can tell the way that Ralph Rangnick's managed this game. He doesn't trust what he's got on the bench. He's sticking with the same. Well, he's obviously brought on. He's got to a different formation now because it was going badly. He's trying to stop the flow, but you can see from the last few minutes it's still coming their way. I'd be surprised if Manchester United were to hang on in this situation. It's going to be a really tough 10 minutes or more for them to survive.
It certainly will be, as Chelsea do make their final change, and Jorginho will be forced to play the rest of the game, as it's N'Golo Conte who makes way for Ruben Loftus-Cheek. So Chelsea made all 3 of their changes now. Loftus-Cheek, obviously a midfielder who can arrive in the box and score goals. He's a creative outlet as well, but he's also such a physical figure who can, he's got a lot of height in him, and maybe if they do start lofting more balls into the box as this game goes on, he can add something there, as Lukaku does well to hold the ball up there and shake off the Manchester United defence. He gives it to James, who gives it to Jorginho. He tries to feed it back through to Lukaku, and it's just inches away from reaching him, but Telles does well to cut it out, and Elanga firing himself forward to try and start a counter-attack for Manchester United, but it was 1-on-4 at the start of it. He's then taken down by Rudiger, who's just sort of shoved Elanga to the ground, and Mike Dean deems that to be a free kick, and he's done really well there, Elanga, to bring that ball forward all by himself and win a free kick about 30 yards out.
Yeah, it's a strong carry from the young Swede. He's up against the packed Chelsea defence, and he's going, just looking for somebody to offer him a simple pass, and eventually it goes to Fernandes, who then loses it, but the referee spotted the foul and quite rightly brings it back. You know, I'm a big critic of Mike Dean. I think he's made some blunders in the past, but he's had a pretty good game tonight. I think he's got most things right.
Trying to leave his mark on Old Trafford as a positive one in his last appearance here before he ends up retiring at the end of the season. The cross comes in from Tellez from the free kick, and it's a nice little ball that sort of sat around the penalty spot, but no Manchester United players running on to the end of it, and so Chelsea will just clear the ball away, but only as far as Juan Mata, who's sat far back, gets a lovely little 1-2 off the midfielder, and then Ronaldo just trying to catch hold of a loose ball, but Chelsea win it back, and here's a real good opportunity for them on the counter-attack as Pulisic plays it wide to Lukaku, but they've almost lost a bit of momentum there as it's played slightly behind the big Chelsea striker, and he loses out on that left-hand side to a combination of Tellez and McTominay, and Manchester United have the ball back, and Victor Lindelof screaming at his fellow defenders to just sort of get into position and make an option for a pass, and it's just calm at the back now. It looks now like Manchester United, when they do have the ball at the back, there's no real urgency to get it over the pitch. They're happy with the draw.
I think they're just realistic about how quickly they can move the ball now. They've got to almost do it all over the top here. It's not going to cause any trouble. They've also got to do it with everybody moving forward at the same time, and so many tired legs out there. I think it's very tough for Manchester United to really do anything too dangerous at the moment.
The Portuguese pair of Ronaldo and Fernandes both with their arms in the air in frustration as a loose pass was played on the right hand side, and they were looking on the left hand side where those two were residing, waiting for some sort of pass through to try and create an attack for Manchester United, but nothing doing, and they just hold the ball in their own half at the moment with Tellez. He gives it to Varane. Lukaku almost casually just jogging towards him, not putting too much pressure on him. He's only been on the pitch for about 10 minutes and he still looks tired already. Romelu Lukaku doesn't seem to have the fitness he had whilst he was in Milan, and might be one of the reasons he's not quite lived up to the billing of what people were expecting from that big transfer. Jorginho does well to clatter in and just take the ball off the foot of Ronaldo, who was trying to start something for Manchester United, and it'll be a throw-in just inside Chelsea's half for the Red Devils, and it's Alex Tellez who will be the one to take it. So just under 5 minutes of regulation time left in this game before we have extra time. I'm sure there will be a little bit of added time on because of the goals and a few different things that have happened in this second half, and Chelsea definitely looking the more likely to score of the two, but Manchester United holding on for now. A long ball from Mount just headed away by Dallo. It's only as far as Pulisic, but Mata does so well to win it back, and then he does really well to take it off Rudiger, and it's probably Elanga going in towards a high foot, but the shouts from the
referee says no foul.
Yeah.
He's just walked across, calm as he likes, said no foul. Elanga's sort of leant into it, maybe even sort of ducked into it as Rudiger was trying to clear. I mean, high foot is usually the decision there, and Mike Dean just says no foul.
He has kicked him in the head. He has. I mean, Rudiger, he does get hold of the ball first, and maybe Elanga's jumping into a high boot, but look, I'm not saying send him off for the second yellow card, but I think that's a free kick to Manchester United because it is a high foot, and that's the letter of the law.
It's the first obvious mistake I think he's made tonight, Mike Dean, and he's just so sort of arrogant. He wanders over there and goes, no foul. Well, we've just seen from the replay, it's a foul. He's kicked him in the head. So, clumsy from Rudiger. I agree with you. I don't think it's a yellow card. Come in so soon after his other one, it would have been a...
And Alanga just getting even any sort of concussion protocols. It looks like the Swede is raring to get back on the pitch for the last which is taken short in towards Fernandez, but he miscontrols it and it's cleared away. Chelsea with a chance to counter-attack now. It's Ruben Loftus-Cheek trying to power through midfield. He's got Mata and McTominay around him, putting him under pressure. Offloads the ball to Marcos Alonso, who goes down claiming he was fouled. Looked like nothing was given, and then in the end, it is a free kick deemed by Mike Dean. I don't know whether that one was maybe given by the linesman who's given him a shout, because it looked like he was happy for that to play on. And actually, if you do have a look at the replay of it, Mata does clatter straight into the back of it.
Yeah, it's a fair decision. Breaks up the play. I think that's what Mata was initially trying to do anyway.
I think more and more open this game as it goes on. Not long left to play at all as Ruben Loftus-Cheek tries to find somebody going forward, but only finds Varane in a Manchester United shirt. It's on the left hand side with Tellez now. He's got that left hand side with Bruno Fernandes. He plays it into him and then clatters into the back of him is Jorginho. He goes down theatrically, but I think it certainly was a foul, and I think it will be a... would have liked to have done, and really they've dominated this game, and if it does end in a draw they certainly will be frustrated. It's looking like we are going to see one more change before the end of the game, and it will be a change for Manchester United. It looks like it's going to be Alejandro Garnacho, the Argentinian midfielder, but it won't be made just yet as the cross comes in from Tellez. It's cleared away, but not that far, and it's come to Alanga, who fires from distance, and a block allows it to come back to a Manchester United player. Tellez then plays another cross through. It's headed back towards goal by Alanga, but cleared away once again, and a chance for Chelsea to counter-attack now. Reece James switches with a lovely ball on the left-hand side to Loftus-Cheek. He gives it to Marcos Alonso, body searching into the box. Alonso whips one in long, but it's too high and too long, and it goes out for a goal kick to Manchester United.
Yeah, real shame the final ball wasn't there from Alonso on this occasion, but they were streaking forward there, weren't they? You know, Chelsea had two players out on that left-hand side, and James spotted where the danger was and delivered a great searching ball, but Alonso couldn't repeat the trick. So here is Alejandro Garnacho for his Manchester United senior debut. He's been pulling up trees in the youth team. In fact, the youth team have got the FA Youth Cup final coming up at Old Trafford, the first leg, with about 38,000 tickets sold. But Garnacho is getting his first bow with the senior boys tonight.
He's got about 2 minutes to make his mark, because in the midst of all that, 3 minutes were put up by the fourth official of added time. We've already had a minute of them played, so he's got 120 seconds to make his mark in a Manchester United shirt at Old Trafford for the first time, and what a start it would be if he could grab a late winner, but I'm sure that's on the mind of all the Chelsea players as well. Just a small matter of time left before this game is called, and we just see pictures of Reece James, who really has been top draw for Chelsea today, and he'll feel that his efforts should have been rewarded with maybe another assist or a goal at least, because he has been fantastic as Ronaldo plays a ball over the top really well on the right hand side to Mata. He's got options coming forward with him. He returns the favour to Ronaldo. Thiago Silva in the way. Ronaldo fires the ball in, and it's just blocked by Thiago Silva, and it will be a corner with 1 minute left on the clock for Manchester United on the far side. A real chance for them to have a smash and grab in this game and take all 3 points from Chelsea, who will feel they certainly deserve them, and it's almost emblematic of the way that Chelsea have had this season. They've just not quite been able to see things off, and they've quite often lost hold of leads, and it's on that far side where Tellez will whip this one in. It comes towards the box, and then it falls down, and it looked like McTominay was going to get on the end of it, but Edouard just manages to get out. Well, Mendy, sorry, just managed to get out and pick it out of the air. But sorry, it looked like McTominay might be able to get his foot on it. It's a nice delivery by Tellez, but that probably will be all there is left with just 15 seconds remaining on the clock.
Yeah, it was a bit of a scramble in the Chelsea box there. Reece James actually missed the header and just sort of jumped underneath the ball and got a flick on there, but didn't force McTominay. Can James do anything with his last bit of possession? Chelsea, they're camped in the United half, but time is against them here.
Certainly is, as he's trying to hold the ball up and win a throw in. But Mike Dean blows his whistle, and a hard-fought point for Manchester United, and Chelsea will certainly feel that they have dropped 2 points in this game. It ends at Old Trafford. Manchester United 1, Chelsea 1.